Hey there, everybody. It's me, Queen Bee, Evangelist Angie B, and you have logged on just in time to experience 24 hours of favor. This is our fundraising event for Maternal Matters Favored, and your donation is really appreciated. Donations help to enhance the well-being of those with perinatal and postpartum mood disorders, one person at a time. We invite you to visit mmfavored.org to learn more about our organization. Funds for this event will help to sponsor a 5-week life skills program. Please make the donation today. Coming up in just a few moments, we have the founder and director of Maternal Matters Favored, Tam McRoy, will be joining us shortly in just a few moments. Right now, we want to get things started with something just for you. It's time for the 24 Hours of Favor annual fundraiser. Combating perinatal and postpartum mood disorders. We invite you to donate today. Make a donation to the Life Skills Program to support weekly classes that teach decision-making, self-awareness, communication, goal setting, and financial literacy.
We're going to be having a slew of individuals, CEOs, individuals that are...
Get ready to pledge. We're raising funds for our Life Skills Program. This annual fundraiser is presented by Maternal Matters Favored Incorporated and produced by Angie B Productions.
Part of the dedication to the cause. I'm forever grateful.
It includes music videos, vital statistics, special presentations from guests all around the world, those that have experienced mood disorders as the result of parenting, and those professionals that treat it. You'll meet entrepreneurs that have sponsored and that support this endeavor, and you'll hear testimonies from real-life parents. Visit the website at mmfavored.org. During the 24 Hours of Favor, you'll also meet other community leaders and experts, founders of other nonprofit organizations. Post your comments, like, subscribe, and share with someone that you know.
Get checked and let them speak with you. And if they don't, ask for an ombudsman. The ombudsman will help you. And thank you so much. Thank you, girl.
Maternal Matters Favored presents 24 Hours of Favor. Get ready for something special, and welcome to the show. Welcome to the show today. Hey, everybody. It's me, the Queen Bee, Evangelist Angie B, and I'm here today for the second annual 24 Hours of Favor. This is our effort to raise awareness and raise funds for Maternal Matters Favored. And throughout the next 24 hours, we've got special guests like Courtney, who will be joining us in just a few moments. I am thrilled to introduce to some and to present to others the visionary and the founder of Maternal Matters Favored, the woman who took a mess in her life and cleaned it up and is now launching a tribe for others. After we introduce Tam, we will bring Courtney on the screen, but we definitely want to first give honor to God. It would not be possible for us to be here if it were not for Him. And so, if it's okay with each of you, I ask that you close your eyes and bow your head, and let's go before the throne of grace just to say thank you. Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity to learn and to share your goodness, even in spite of dark times or lack of understanding. Some of us know that you have already ordered our footsteps and you're holding our hand as we go through. Father, for those of you that don't know you yet, or maybe have forgotten how good and gracious you are, we ask that this broadcast reach someone who needs to hear from you. We ask that this broadcast reach someone that needs to learn more about these mood disorders. And we ask that this broadcast reach someone with your love and your grace. We ask these and all other blessings come raining down upon us as we raise funds and awareness for Maternal Matters Favored. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. In your Son, Jesus' mighty name. Amen. 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 Now it is time to bring on the woman who got us all up early this morning and will keep us cranking for the next 24 hours. Hey, Tam, come on in. How you doing? How you doing?
Oh my gosh. We are here, we are live, and we are back at it for the second year in a row.
Yeah.
Is my internet good?
Yes.
Okay. Because we had some takeaways from last year, and one of them was thou shall go and get an internet extender.
Yeah. I got you. I got you.
Oh my gosh. I am so stoked. Once more, as Angie said, we are here to bring one awareness. We're here to share stories about what we've experienced, you know what I mean, in regards to survival with perinatal, postpartum mood disorders, and we'll get into what that all actually means. We're going to bring you some stats. We're going to educate you because it says in the Bible, you know, our people will perish for lack of knowledge, right? And so, you know, when we know better, we do better. We're gonna just get into so many different things. I'm just super stoked once more just to have the opportunity to talk with individuals across the world, and once more just spread the word about perinatal and postpartum, right?
Because there's still so many people that don't know, especially when you say, what is that, PMAD?
Yeah.
People don't know what that means.
No. And so we have a slew of different things in store. And so we just ask that you hold on to your seat. I do want to go ahead and just, Angie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I've been knowing Angie for some odd years, and she's a dear friend of mine, very, very, very talented woman of God. And I am so grateful that she puts up with me. And she's back here being our producer, being our behind the scenes individual. She'll help to keep us in line, making certain that we're meeting those different timelines and milestones in regards to this production. Angie, tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
I am known through the world of holy hip hop, Christian, and gospel rap music as the Queen Bee. I'm a round little yellow busy bumblebee for Christ, and it is my goal, objection, and love to share the goodness of God with others. Everybody's not going to come into a church, but some of us are going to have mood disorders around pregnancy and after, and not wonder who they can turn to. Some of us are just going to have issues. So with my radio broadcast training and videography training, I was being used by God to spread the gospel and to now help raise awareness and funds for organizations like yours. You can find me on social media. And if you'd like to have a 24-hour fundraiser just like this one, contact Tam. She'll tell you all the good stuff. But before I turn it back over to you, Tam, I want to thank our broadcast sponsors, the social media platforms that are airing us live. Right now, we are live on Facebook. Just search for Angie B Presents. That's ANGIEBEE, just like that bumblebee. Angie B Presents. I also want you to look for Moms in Ministry on Facebook. Moms, the capital letter N, like Nancy, Ministry. Moms in Ministry is streaming 24 hours of favor live for us today. The next Facebook page is Volusia Business Women. It is streaming live for 24 hours for us today. And also the Dads on Duty. Dads on Duty is streaming us on Facebook Live today. Over on YouTube, we are streaming live on Volusia Business Women's YouTube page. Over on X, which used to be Twitter, we're on the Angie B Tour page, ANGIEBEE Tour page. And then we have special guest destinations from Pamela's Truth. You can find her on Facebook. You can find Maternal Matters Favored on Facebook, and you'll see us live. You scroll back and you'll see the history of this fine organization. Maternal Matters Favored is on Facebook. And then we're live on Juliana Nicole's Facebook page. And this year, for the first time, we're streaming live on Instagram. Cora Howard is streaming us on her Instagram platform. So I give God praise not only for the ability to reach all these people that you have scheduled to be guests, but to reach all of their audiences as well. So
Absolutely.
Excited. Thank you, Tam.
Absolutely. If anyone didn't catch all of that, you can go to our regular website and we are streaming live there as well. Just go to the 24 Hours of Favor page and scroll down and you'll see us. Hit play. Once more, this is all going to be memorialized and become historical context on all of these different platforms, including our YouTube channel as well.
Yes.
OMG. So as we stated, we have a lot of different things in store. And I want to make certain that you got your inventory pack, right? So I want to let you know what's in mine. I have my tissue.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I got my fan, because sometimes it hits you. And, because, once more, we have so many gripping stories that individuals are going to be bringing to us. This is raw transparency at its finest. I got my asthma pump, just in case.
Yeah. Just in case.
Because we are serious about this, you know what I mean? And what we've seen generations after generations, is that folks have been told to stuff it, pack it, you know what I mean? Sometimes folks, they felt that something was off and they were like, no, besides no one's going to hear me and so forth. And so once more, when we're talking about bringing awareness to this silent crisis, we're talking about being full-fledged honest about some of the things in which we've gone through, some levels of despair, some levels of hopelessness, that we've all encountered, and where we were able to pick ourselves up and make moves towards reestablish ourselves in life, you know what I mean, and so forth. And so everyone has a different story. And so we just ask that you continually tune in and listen, because you never know which story may resonate with you, raise an eyebrow, and you're like, you know what? Not me, but my cousin, what I mean? That made sense why my mom was acting and talking the way she did. You will get a lot of ahas in here. And at the end of the day, we are all about breaking generational dysfunctional cycles. period. And so I do also want to remind you that you are going to hear a whole bunch of amen, hallelujah.
Praise the Lord. Praise.
Just because at the end of the day, we give God the glory in all that we do, because we know without him, we are truly nothing. You know what I mean? It's not because of our accolades, our looks, our vocabulary, all the letters and symbols and numbers behind our names, or anything to that effect. Everything that we do is because God has enabled us to be able to do so. And so we give props where props is due. All right. Angie, she's going to keep me on point because she knows I'm a rambler and I will go really off to the left field, and then she'll help me get back on.
You are passionate about what you've experienced and how you've been healed. I just am excited to proclaim that one day in the future, somebody's going to see this old ancient video, like we look at old black and whites or something, and they're going to see this and like, what? Postpartum depression? People actually had that? Well, what did they do? That's what I'm claiming. That's what I'm claiming. I want it to be eradicated. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now is Courtney here?
Yes, she is, and she is ready to go. Hey, Courtney.
Hey, hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Court. Oh my gosh.
Good to see you.
Yes. Everyone, let me introduce you to Courtney Barber. She is one of our board members. In fact, she's our first board chair, and she's also the chair of our development committee. She's been on with us since pretty much conception, and she does phenomenal work. Court, tell everyone about yourself and some of the things that you do here as well with us at Favored.
Thank you so much, Tam. It's always an honor just being with you, participating in anything with you. So I am a mental health counselor. Right now, I do some private work coaching, and I also am working for an agency named Charlie Health, focusing on perinatal mental health support groups for youth in a remote format, and it's an intensive outpatient program. And in my private work, I also focus on perinatal issues, trauma, loss, relationships, neurodivergence. Those are some of my special areas of focus. Years ago, I trained as a doula, and then I quickly started to focus more on postpartum doula work than birth work because I found the postpartum time so interesting. So at that time, I was in my early 20s. I was really young. I didn't have a child at that time. I wondered, why am I even interested in this? But there was something about it that held something important for me. It helped me to understand my own family history better. And so that trajectory is just carried across 20 years of work. And now in mental health, that's one of my special areas of focus. And I'm so happy to be here. These are issues that are near and dear to my heart. And I struggled postpartum, even knowing everything that I did, during my own experience. So creating community, I think, is the most powerful thing we can do around these issues. As you were saying to Angie, so many folks have a feeling that something maybe wasn't right, or something isn't right, or maybe wasn't in their family of origin, and we just don't have the words for it. And as you know so well, when these things are undiagnosed, or there's no support, there's no, you don't get to speak it out loud or get help for it, it can impact us for a lifetime. It can impact the next generation. And like you said, breaking those cycles is what we're all about. So that's a little bit about me.
I love it. She's phenomenal. Get used to seeing Court. She will be here on the broadcast throughout the next 24 hours. She's one of my fabulous co-hosts. Once more, she is an integral part of our makeup of operations for Favored. When you get your newsletters, that's her. Sometimes some of our social media content, that's her. And a lot of, what do we call them, brainchilds stem from some of the collective conversations that we have just as a board. And I always want to give my board their props, because it'll be a Sunday morning at 11 o'clock and we're at it, right? Or, whatever that looks like in the wee hours during the week, because of work schedules and so forth. We work to get it done. We meet each other where we're at, because at the end of the day, once more. We're really passionate about this. And so we have some time. I want to give, everyone some knowledge, right? And so once more, you're going to hear us talk about PMAD. And so let me start to break down some of this vernacular, right? PMAD is perinatal and postpartum mood disorders. And what does that truly mean? It can be OCD. You're back and forth checking on the baby. Is the baby okay? You know what I mean? Are they breathing? What does that look like? It could be psychosis, where you start to hallucinate and you think things are which aren't. It can be the general anxiety, and it can go into different levels, as well as depression and so forth. And there's other factors that can take place that individuals will start to experience. And so I don't want to give everything away, but, people sometimes, because of hormonal changes, they have symptoms of being bipolar. And so forth. It's a specific term that is truly related to postpartum and perinatal anxiety and depression and mood disorders and so forth. And so individuals are sometimes like, what does that mean? What should I be looking for? You know what I mean? So if we have feelings of constant depression or extreme highs, you know what I mean, we're super, super happy, this is a symptom in which you should look for if you have feelings of irritability, loss of sometimes just wanting to participate in things that you used to find joy in. And these aren't cliche words that we're going to be using or phrases, you know what I mean? This is truly real facts, right? If you have disturbances in your appetite, you're not eating like the way you used to, you're eating too much, you're eating too less. Once more, while you're pregnant or after giving birth. And just to kind of set the tone here, with regards to postpartum PMAD, that's anywhere from the time that you're giving birth up until a year after. And recent studies are showing now longer periods. And I say that, and I'll get into it a little later on, but I'm a part of this Florida Maternal Mental Health Collaborative. And it's like, Department of Health, Agency for Healthcare Administration, all these different governing bodies and so forth. And, just in a meeting that we had this week, we were talking about, they're now saying that any person that has had a child, that postpartum PMAD can be for whatever duration, because what we are seeing once more is that a lot of individuals are enduring things that they just can't place a finger on it.
Yes, that's an excellent point. And I love that you started there, Tam, with just defining the terms, right? Because I know even for me, so I was trained as a doula. At the time I had a bachelor's degree in health, and I was really interested in health. I had attended births, and I think that I still had that stereotype, though, that I probably took in from the media in terms of postpartum depression. Like, it only looks like depression. So we think of postpartum depression, we think of maybe the stereotypical symptoms of depression, like we can't get out of bed, low energy, low mood, maybe suicidal thoughts, maybe thoughts of harm toward the baby. But like, you're listing all of these other manifestations of what postpartum mood disorders can look like. And it can, absolutely be OCD. I think we don't talk about that enough. That was more my experience. It's in my family background, but it manifested postpartum. And also, you're listing the things that would be harder to place in isolation, like paranoia. When we're experiencing early psychosis, there's a paranoia, like, I feel like something bad is happening. I feel like people are against me. I don't know what's real and what's not real. But if you're isolated with those symptoms, it's like really, really hard to figure out within yourself alone what's happening. So I think defining the terms is a really powerful thing. Just holding it up to the light. These are things that happen all the time. There was, to your point, and Tam knows this, but during the pandemic, I think the White House issued a report saying it's like a quarter of people postpartum have some form of mood disorder. So it's pretty prevalent, and it's a public health issue. Like, if it were something else, I think unrelated to gender and mothers, we would be really talking about all the time. There'd be a lot of research. We're kind of catching up, though, right? Because women's health has only been a specific field for like 50 or 60 years in healthcare. It's a newer field. So we're learning about postpartum. We're learning about the hormones and our neurochemistry and how it all works. And it's still kind of a baby field in terms of healthcare and science. So this is really important stuff. We're catching up with the science. We're catching up with the awareness.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think defining the terms is huge, huge,
Yeah.
huge. Especially young mothers, like our first-time mothers. You might not know that it could look like all of these different things. You just think, and to your point, the anxiety, it could be like washing bottles repeatedly, washing the baby's things repeatedly. And it's sort of like we think that that's a normal part of having a baby, but then it can veer into something that's either compulsive or really panic-based. And if no one's talking about it, you don't really know that this is all, and it doesn't have to be this way. I don't have to be so exhausted. It's hard enough, right, to have a baby and take care of a baby and yourself.
Yeah. No, these are all good things. I was thinking about that, with regards to, some of the symptoms in which folks encounter. It is, the feeling of not wanting to do anything, extreme exhaustion, more so than normal, nausea, sometimes dizziness, and so forth. And sometimes when individuals have that dizziness, then it turns into, oh my gosh, I can't hold my baby because my gait is off. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm going to fall with this child, and then, sometimes it spirals and it becomes a fixation, and so then, there's that, paranoia going on where they don't want to partake at all in any care for their child because of just these little things, right? And so as Court mentioned, she has some hereditary type of preconditions. And so, some of the symptoms, if a person has already had a mental health background,
yes,
these things can kind of, make it more prevalent to you having perinatal and postpartum mood and anxiety disorders. If you have lack of support from your family or friends, this is something that can happen. And I want to put a pin in that right there, because I do want to set the tone that this does not discriminate. You could be rich, you could be poor, you know what I mean? You could be Black, you could be Indian, it doesn't. It goes across the spectrum of individuals, and we'll get into it later on, but we have studies now coming in of dads going through levels of PMAD, as well as those that adopt, you know what I mean? And so even non-birthing individuals, psychologically go through changes in which they are exhibiting signs and symptoms of PMAD. And so there's help there. Don't think that you stay stagnant in this. And this is where we always say, hey, there's a tribe willing and ready to help you. And so there's things like counseling, of course, meditation, there's medication as well. You can do some forms of yoga and exercising. We do know that your diet plays a contributing factor to your mental well-being as well. You can do breathing techniques. There's a slew of different things out there. And I can tell you that we have so many maternal mental health providers that are digging into ways in which we can work to enhance our well-being. And with that being said, I'll pause, and Court, go ahead and jump in on that.
Yeah, I think that's, you touched on, and I know part of what we'll be doing during this broadcast, repeating some things because we really want people to hear them, and kind of liberating that information. But you touched on two really important points. So one was the risk factors. So we have the signs and symptoms, but then we have the pre-existing risk factors. I think that's worth unpacking more. We'll keep talking about that today. And then the other thing you're talking about is what are the things that help. So as far as risk factors, Tam, is making an excellent point there. If we do a psychosocial assessment, like when we're doing counseling, if someone's good at it, they can see, okay, there are some risk factors here. So Tam mentioned, like we discussed with me, maybe a family history of particular mental health diagnoses. Maybe Tam also mentioned a history of trauma and or loss. Okay. So that's a risk factor. Something, and it doesn't mean it will manifest. It just means we need to be maybe a little more aware. So pre-existing, family history of mental health stuff, patterns of postpartum mood disorder or PMS, premenstrual mood disorders. That's a risk factor. If we know that we kind of have issues around our menstrual cycle already, we can get, really low or have a lot of anxiety at different parts of our reproductive cycle. That's important to know. And what else? A history of domestic violence, intimate partner violence, abuse is absolutely a risk factor. If we think about it, sexual abuse is a risk factor. You know, you're giving birth, postpartum, this involves your body. It involves contact, very intimate contact with that baby. And for some women who have that history of sexual trauma, it can be triggering. And so that is a risk factor. We don't talk about that enough. And if you're a survivor of certain types of abuse, really any abuse, but in particular sexual abuse, it makes sense. You know, it involves your body and life feeling kind of out of control postpartum. So that is a risk factor to be aware of. I'm sure there are others I'm not thinking of right now, but those are just some. So if you have, you know, if you're doing the checklist and it's like, this is me all the way down, then your obstetric provider or mental health counselor, you know, we should be kind of aware during pregnancy that, all right, there are some risk factors. And if you're not a first-time mom, obviously, if you have a history of perinatal mood disorder, you know, you're going to be maybe a little more at risk. So we want to keep an eye on things. I think that the risk factors, that's one thing we can do in terms of prevention. So this is something where we can't always see it coming, but sometimes we can see from family and personal history that there are a list of risk factors, and maybe it's something we should be aware of ahead of time, and then have a plan in place in case it goes in that direction.
Knock, knock, ladies. I do not want to interrupt, but we have some wonderful videos that were contributed, and I'd like to play maybe one or two of them and get your feedback on them. Sometimes there are things out in the Instagram universe that should be self-explanatory, but they're not. So here comes the first one.
Is mommy okay? Nobody tells you how much you're going to grieve when you become a mother. I learned who I was really young, but overnight, that girl was gone. And it wasn't just me. My husband became a new person too, and our relationship became a new relationship. I had to say goodbye to those parts of me and us, and rediscover myself, my partner, and our marriage, all while taking care of a newborn. And then came the mom guilt. I wanted to be with her all the time, but I also run a business. Honestly, my whole postpartum journey was such a blur. There was no structure, but at a certain point, I just had to surrender, give into the chaos. My advice to any new mom, you will never be who you once were, in all the best ways and in all the most painful.
Okay, are we responding to this one first? I think she made some great points. The guilt. So right now I'm doing perinatal support. You know, sometimes it's dozens, even like some weeks it's hundreds of people through different groups online. Guilt is like our number one theme in perinatal support. We are, if we're enculturated or it's family of origin, I think it's some combination, but postpartum mothers, you know, particularly those of us who are born female, we tend to go toward guilt. When these things happen, we blame ourselves. And that is a common clinical theme. It's the number one kind of dragon to defeat, I think, in our support groups often. And I think that one of the biggest antidotes is connection and community, because when people talk about going through these things and they're like, I've been through it, you've been through it. I don't think you should feel guilty about that, because that happened to me and it happened to me too. I think that normalizing it lifts some of that burden off of our shoulders, that this is something about me. It puts it into a larger medical context, mental health context, social context. And it really, I think, is very, very healing. Talking about it, you know, having that information, and then also creating community discussion around it. But guilt is huge.
Yeah, it is. What we do know for certain is you have to do some self-work. You have to begin to forgive yourself. You have to love yourself in order to love anyone else, right? And so I can't express this enough to individuals. And sometimes, you know, going back to guilt, it stems from our childhood. And so I would advise anyone these days and times, it's okay to go get counseling. You know what I mean? You know, and you know, even if you can't literally afford it, and you may be on Medicaid, and there's ways in which you can get counseling, and I would say that when you do, that you ask if the provider doesn't initiate it for an adverse childhood experience test, you know what I mean,
Yes.
where you can go through some things and in which you can start to unpack some of the trauma that you may have encountered that may be manifesting itself in an evolved way at this present time while you're now a mom, or let's just say a parent. Because what we do know is sometimes, regrettably, we stuff a lot of things, right? And we don't deal with it like we should. And at later times, it does surface in different ways, whether it's overeating, whether it's anger issues, you know what I mean? We have different levels of addiction and so forth. And so we want to start to do that self-work, do that level of of self-actualization that will come forth from the self-work, that self-love, right? And once you actually do that, you're going to see that you're going to start releasing some levels of guilt and so forth. But what we can start to put into place is baby steps. You know what I mean? We know that we can't eat the elephant at one big time. And so whatever that looks like, as we were talking about the video here, implement it. We'll talk maybe later on about a self-care plan. Start to map out some things, so that we can take ownership of how we want our lives to be. It's not just rolling over, waking up every day and just going.
Yes, absolutely. It makes me think, you mentioned a couple more risk factors, I guess. One would be that high ACE score. So you mentioned adverse childhood experiences. When Tam says adverse childhood experiences, what she means is there's a 10-question questionnaire. Kaiser Permanente did all this research on trauma with large swaths of people, right, years ago. And what they found is folks who had answered yes to more of these 10 questions about their childhood trauma, so trauma before the age of 18, they had a higher risk of a host of mental health, but also physical health issues, which is kind of amazing. I mean, with ACE scores, you have a high level of trauma during your development. Even the stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, impact your body's ability to regulate insulin. I found this so amazing when I found it out. So our unresolved trauma can make us increase our risk of diabetes, heart disease, other things. This is how important taking care of our mental health is. When you feel triggered, feel anxiety, it's impacting your blood pressure, your heart rate, your hormones, and then your neurochemicals. So high ACE scores, and you can look that up or ask your primary care provider about it. But the ACE questions, it's things like, did you witness domestic violence in the home? Did you have substance use or mental health issues in the home? Was there a loss, in your childhood? Things like this. Sexual abuse or trauma of other kinds, a family member who is incarcerated. So there's sort of a list of questions. So if you do that ACE questionnaire with your primary care provider, your mental health care provider, and your number is high, then that's also something where you need to take care of yourself. And then the other piece you mentioned, Tam, which I thought was so important, how the perfectionism, the postpartum kind of figuring out the guilt. I think that those of us, if you're someone who you like things a certain way, maybe you've achieved certain things, you like to have your house clean, you like things a certain way. Well, postpartum is going to kind of blow the top off of that. And so like she was speaking about in the video, your new normal is going to look really different. The woman in the video said she runs her own business. And so it was like, she has her relationship, her business, and now new baby. It's going to be a new normal. And so sometimes part of what we need to do is lower that bar. Like, things aren't going to be perfect, and forgiving ourselves, giving ourselves grace around that. Like Tim said, having a plan around self-care, prioritizing self-care. Things might look messier on the surface for a time, but that's because we can't be doing 100% of our best effort in all of those areas at once. We wouldn't sleep. We would never sleep. We'd need a clone, right? It doesn't work. And so much of what I hear postpartum is my to-do list is driving me crazy. I can't get ahead of everything. I feel behind. I feel, overwhelmed, alone. And so I think that sometimes creating a more realistic vision for what's going to be happening for the time being is a piece of what needs to be done. and lowering the bar. And if we're someone who's a high achiever and we want everything to be just so, we need to kind of almost lower our expectations, knowing that it's not going to be forever. But your home and your to-do list and your level of productivity is not going to be maybe the way that it was before for the first 6 months or a year, or maybe 2 years, few years of your child's life. But there will be that regulating and reprioritizing as they grow and develop. So it's a special season in your life where things are going to look different. I think that's important.
Absolutely. Good stuff, all good stuff. I want to just take note to the message there. Thank you for joining us, Chantel. We definitely appreciate you watching us. Thank you.
Yay. Thanks so much. Thanks everybody. I'm grateful for Alexandria watching us from the Bahamas and for Chantel watching. So we've got somebody special in the background that'd like to just pop in for a minute, Tam, just for a minute. We need our prayer partners and our prayer warriors. And so you may recognize the song that is now playing in the background. And I just want to be able to introduce you to the person that brought this to us. Fallen. First time I heard this song, I thought, oh, this is perfect. So I'd like to bring Overseer Sidney in just for a minute. He's going to share his testimony later in the day, but we wanted him to pop in and say hi. Hello, sir. Oh, let me see. Your microphone is off. Let me see. Where
I'll fix that. Is that better?
That's better.
Yes. Thank you.
Better. Listen, I'm still getting good. I have a son that takes care of all of this stuff for me. But God bless you all. Thank you so very much. I was sitting here and I was listening in, and everything that you said, both of you ladies said, was very, very revelatory, even for me as a male and a father and once a husband, to see that. And I just wanted to pop in and say, ladies, I thank you so very much for your contributions to this sector of life, because from a man's perspective, we don't get to really take it on, and we like, hey, it'll be all right, or we don't even address it. And so it's one of those things, it didn't really hit home until it hit my house. Mm-hmm. And so when it hit my house, now it's like, whoa, it is really real. And I have 3 sons by my ex-wife, and so I had to see it 2 out of the 3 times. So it's one of those things, I'll talk about it a little bit later. But my sister is a licensed mental health therapist here in Jacksonville, Florida. And so I hear it, I see it, and to see it from both ends and to hear you ladies today, I just say thank you so very much for your contribution.
Thank you for that. Oh my gosh, is it too early to bring out my tissue? Thank you for that. That means a lot, you know what I mean? Because regrettably, sometimes, in the past, and when we're some of us being a little older, right? We're going to be talking from spaces of the past and how we're trying to be trendsetters and setters in this present day time. But, it wasn't a welcoming conversation, you know what I mean? And men sometimes just overlooked the emotional part that women were dealing with. And so just to hear you say that as a man, acknowledging, yep, it's real. I actually saw it, and I want to help make contributing factors and pushing the trajectory of operations with these kind of things. It means a lot. It goes a long way. And I'm pretty sure there's men all around the world that echo what you stated.
Yes. Yes.
And Sam made that excellent point also over a little while earlier about, there's more research on how postpartum and perinatal seasons affect men and their mental health and their vulnerability and all those risk factors we talked about for postpartum perinatal mood disorder. They're risk factors for a male parent to have a mood disorder spike or relapse or struggle during that season too. And so we're learning to be, like Tam's saying, as we go through and learn more, and society evolve. We're being more inclusive, and part of that is understanding fathers can be at risk. We need them to be healthy and whole for the whole thing to go well long term, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and it can get hard for us because, as women know, we men still want certain needs met, even in that transition that women go through, your bodies, your minds, everything, and we're still like, hey, stroke our head, make us feel good. I'm going to work. I'm coming back. Hey, did you cook?
And part of that can be feeling alone. A lot of male partners, they feel alone. They feel like baby has taken the center stage, and they can fall into a depression and feel like they're disconnected, not knowing their role.
Absolutely.
That baby taking your place, huh?
What about me? What about me? Yes, absolutely.
I love it.
And I'm so grateful that Overseer Sydney sees it even from a ministry point of view. You know, some of us still go to our pastors for everything, you know, and when I speak, I tell people, I'm not going to my pastor if I got a yeast infection. I'm going to the OBGYN. But we still go to our pastor and say, well, how come my wife ain't? And how come my husband ain't? And how come? And so I don't want the bleeding on the pulpit, as they say, but I do want the understanding to come from the top. And then overseers and pastors and bishops can then put support groups together and bring in Maternal Matters Favor to lead and to teach. So I'm so grateful for you, Overseer Sydney. I'm so grateful.
No, thank you so very much. And like you were saying, they do come, you know, men and women come. And it's one of those things, if we are to love our wives as Christ loved the church, Christ has compassion. Christ has understanding, right? Wisdom is the principal thing, but in all thy getting, get understanding. So I have to understand my wife or my woman just went through a transformation. So step back a little bit and understand and understand what she's going through. You'll be all right. It'll get back together. Don't get me started. Now tomorrow's Sunday. Don't get me started. But it's one of those things to really, really take it all in. And then we have to educate our men and young fathers on this transition, because a lot of things fall apart because he does not understand. So,
wow.
Yes, this is good. Thank you for that. We look forward to having more of an in-depth conversation with you a little later on.
Yep.
Your song is beautiful. We think your song is beautiful.
Yep. We're actually going to take a break because it's almost the top of the first hour. We're going to let Tam check to see how many donations we got in so far. Overseer Sydney, we'll see you back at about 4:30 today.
Yes.
And thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you. You are watching 24 Hours of Favor. It is just about time for us to remind you to make your donation. Please make your donations. They help in so many ways. Keep in mind that the board members are volunteers. Tam is a volunteer. Everybody's giving their all because we want to spread awareness and help people that are being affected by these mood disorders. So we're gonna put this video up, give you time to get out your wallets, as they used to say, and we'll be back with more of 24 Hours of Favor in just a bit.
Sitting here all alone, no one to pick up the phone, and it's just me. The problem that I have to face is staring me in the face, and it's just me. No longer will I try to hide the demons that I've locked inside, for they're wearing me down, way down. I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling. I need you to catch me, 'cause I'm falling and I can't get up. I'm falling and I can't get up. I'm falling and I can't get up. Falling and I can't get up. I'm staring in outer space. I'm lost without a trace, and there's nowhere to run or hide. No longer will I fear. I'm finally facing my fears, 'cause I'm all straightened out and cried out. I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling. Why don't you catch me? 'Cause I'm falling and I can't get up. 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 Oh, I'm falling, I'm falling, Lord, I need you, I need you, I need you. Oh, I'm falling, I'm falling, I'm falling. Why don't you catch me? 'Cause I'm falling and I can't get up. 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 Knock and it shall be open. Seek and you shall find. Call his name, Jesus. Say it now. Knock it shall be open. Seek and you shall find. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Knock and it shall be open.
Hi everyone, I hope this day's been good to you. My name is Jamie Rockymore Best. I am the founder of a mental health and wellness magazine called Helpful Living Magazine, and our goal, our mantra, our mission is to end the stigma one issue at a time. And so we do that by creating magazine issues every quarter, and our latest issue is fresh off the press this month. I'm so excited for you to dive in. You can visit us at helpfullivingmag.com to check it out. We have digital and physical copies available to you. We also have a subscription service that is digital and physical. So if it's something that you want to dive into and get, the latest and the greatest issues every quarter without having to worry about purchasing it, it'll be delivered to your desired email or address. And so in addition to the magazine, we also have a journal that I created called Me Time Journal. And that journal is designed with you in mind. We have journal prompts, we have free space, and I also created a positive word bank that you can dive into and implement those words into your journal entries. And last but not least, I have a podcast titled Going Through with Jamie. In this podcast platform, I talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of all the things we navigate in life. And so you can visit Spotify, and also you can visit Apple Podcasts to find find that podcast platform and check out our latest episodes. Again, I am so excited for you today. I hope that all the information that you dive into and that you receive, that you apply it and make it applicable to your everyday life. And then also, I always tell people, do not be everything to everyone else and nothing to yourself. All right. So be well, be good to yourselves today. Make sure that you visit helpfullivingmag.com to dive into those resources. And I look forward to connecting with you there. Have an amazing day. Bye.
My name is Mario. I'm owner of OTC Towing, and I would love for us to provide service for you. We provide service for the Central Florida and surrounding areas for over 14 years. We do light, medium, and heavy-duty towing. We buy junk cars. We provide service for subdivisions, apartment complexes. We would like to connect with you. Give us a call at 321-696-3623.
Hello, my name is Eloy Scott from Houston, Texas, and I'm here to share my amazing testimony about this awesome product called Lviv Yellow. I grew up asthmatic and I had seasonal allergies. I was suffering all the time. When I began to drink this Lviv Yellow, it helped to alleviate that. I no longer suffer as much as I used to suffer. I no longer have an inhaler. I no longer take albuterol. I no longer have to pack a breathing machine every time I travel. This amazing product does my body good, and you definitely want to get yours today.
Hello, my name is Mario Hicks, owner of Roney's Restaurant located in the heart of historic Goldsboro Boulevard. Come to Roney's, try our famous chicken and waffles, our mouth-watering shrimp and grits, our garlic parmesan wings, sweet Thai chili wings, honey lemon pepper, the best ever. We have curbside, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or Grubhub. We even have Menufy. Call in now, 407-878-4357. We're ready to serve you.
Hey, everybody. It's me, the Queen Bee, Evangelist Angie B. I am your segment producer today, and I'm honored to be here to support 24 Hours of Favor. I'm thrilled by the mission of helping folks with what Tam describes as PMAD. And I am grateful for the technology. We are in two different cities in Florida, and the internet, we may be lagging one place, we may be skipping another place, but our efforts are combined to bring you this information and to encourage you to donate to our efforts. We invite you to go to the main website, which is mmfavored.org, but we're also on Maternal Matters Favored, the 24 Hours of Favor Pledge-a-thon, and this is our live tote board so far. We have had 7 supporters, and we are grateful to each and every one of them. So thank you so much. Do not feel like, okay, they've already earned some money and they don't need any more. We do need more. If for none other reason than our Life skills program. Just because someone has a baby doesn't mean they know what to do with themselves or with the baby. So we're asking for your donations to help enhance someone else's life. We're asking for your donations. Now, before I bring back Tam, our illustrious leader and the founder of this organization, I'm putting out my first challenge. Now, what is a challenge? A challenge is when you encourage a group of people to donate within the next hour. And when all those donations come in, they will be contributed to you and your challenge. And you will receive a very special acknowledgement on the website. So if you did not get an opportunity to have your commercial seen or to sponsor, now is the time. Now is challenge time. So I am an Amazon #1 best-selling author internationally, and I challenge every author on my Facebook timeline, on my YouTube, on my X, used to be known as Twitter account. I challenge all the authors in this hour, this first full hour of our 24 hours. I challenge each of you to donate $10 or more. $10 or more. We're going to put the contact information down at the bottom of the screen. If you have a question or you want to donate a different kind of way, you can do that. That's not a problem at all. But in this hour, all us authors are going to donate $10 each. Now, of course, you could donate more, but that's what I'm asking for. Wouldn't it be great that the first hour's challenge just breaks all the records, and it's coming from authors? So if you're watching and you know an author, please tag them. Please send this to them. Tell them you only got 1 hour to donate $10, and a very special gift from Angie B Productions will come to you. Y'all know I do book trailers, right? All right, it's time to bring Tam back in, my darling. And we got Apostle Naisha waiting in the background for you, sweetheart.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, that we're going into our second hour. Great conversation that we had with Courtney once more, who's a board member and a clinician as well. And I'm very stoked to bring out our first speaker for today. Go ahead and bring her on out, and I'm going to do this introduction right. Hey!
Oh my gosh, so happy to be here.
Yes, everyone, please let me introduce you to Naisha Harrington. She is an anointed and consecrated apostle. She is the founder and chief architect of Arise Global Ministries and Women Arise International. She is also an international speaker, a global leader, pioneer, a kingdom builder, and she's also a dear friend of mine. Hey, girl!
I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being here. So how has everything been?
Oh my gosh, it has been amazing. I'm currently out of town. We're celebrating Mother's Day. So this just really, to me, is near and dear to my heart because we get a chance to talk to some mothers, and I'm excited for the impact that this platform is going to bring to so many women and awareness. And so I'm just excited to be here, and I'm just so excited to see you. I love you so much, Tam.
I love you too. Thank you so much. Okay, so yes, let's talk about it. What made you say, okay, Tam, yeah, I'll attend when I asked you to speak at today's charity event?
Well, you know what? When you and I had a little powwow in a store, we met up, and just like girlfriends who love each other, we made a whole moment out of it, and we talked for about 30 minutes to an hour, and I probably was just going in there to get some meat, yes, right, and run out. But because we know our Lord and we know that this was divine intervention, we had a moment, we had a chat about some of the things that the Lord has put on your heart. And when you told me about this, as a mother, it touched my heart because I was able to really identify with some of the things that you were talking about and some of the things that are on your heart. And I say, why not share my story? I don't think that I've ever really shared my maternity story with anybody. I don't think I've ever really gone in depth about motherhood and some of the things that we face as mothers, right? But I thought, why not? It's time. My kids are older. My daughter's getting ready to turn 18 years old. She's getting ready to graduate from high school. She's headed to college. And then I have a college student already who is going to be turning 19 years old. And I say, why not? The time is now to share these stories, to bring awareness to some of these issues and maybe concerns, and really, really normalize it a little bit, because I think there's such a stigma and so many things surrounding these topics that we have an opportunity, I feel, to normalize certain conversations. And I feel like this is that platform to do it on. I'm excited for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. For everyone, we were in Walmart and we hogged up the aisle for a solid 30 minutes just talking. And it was late at night as well. So yes, and to your point, we have to normalize these type of conversations. This is where that's where the healing begins. When we start to, tell our story, our testimony. We're supposed to be doing so anyway, right? So that we can connect with someone and help bring them up. I was at this event and this speaker said, a pulpit is for you to pull someone up out the pit.
Oh, I love that.
So when God gives us these platforms, when God gives us opportunities, right? We need to do our due diligence. We need to be responsible with it. And so whatever that looks like, you know what I mean? We have to communicate to the community, because so many people are just sitting there hurting, right?
And let me add too, because a lot of times, a lot of people know that if you either know me one side in ministry, you don't know me on the other side of healthcare. And so while I am a licensed and ordained minister and finishing up my doctor's degree in theology, I also have an extensive background in healthcare and nursing, psych, social work. I have a master's in public health, epidemiology, and I also am finishing my doctor's degree in health administration. So while I do have an extensive background in ministry, I also feel like we need to have some of these conversations that are surrounding healthcare and normalize them, especially in the church.
Absolutely. And so tell us some of what you went through and how you survived. And I ask everyone that because everyone's story is similar but different, and that's where that community connection starts to take place.
Absolutely. So first of all, I had my children when I was in college, undergrad. I went to FAMU in Florida State. Woo woo. And I had them roughly around in my 20s. Still a college student, still getting familiar with myself, and really not aware of a lot of the symptoms and things that you go through postpartum, like once you have children. And so throughout my pregnancies, I got some of the help books that I thought would be helpful throughout the pregnancy, what to do while you're waiting. I'm sure you've probably heard of that. And I did the little check boxes and went through everything that I can think of. What do you do at 12 months when you're pregnant? What do you do at, the 3-month period, the 4-month period, the 5-month, and so on and so forth unto 9 months. But what I was not prepared for was what would happen afterwards. And so my first pregnancy, so both of my children are only 1 year apart. So a lot of these things I was experiencing, I think, kind of overlapped, right? So while we may have similar stories, I had something that kind of overlapped. So to be honest, the kids are only 10 months apart. So you got to know that some of the symptoms, some of the things that I was facing was actually overlapping itself. So when I felt the symptoms surrounding postpartum and some of the challenges that go on post-pregnancy, I feel like some of them were overlapping. My son, he was actually late. So I had to be induced. I had to go through an episiotomy. I really had to go through some things just because of his late birth. And then I faced a lot of the symptoms just from that alone. And so I really had to learn my body and what the experiences that I was facing. And like we talked about earlier, normalize some of the emotions that was coming as a result of my body going through not just a regular birth, but also some of the symptoms from the medication and different things that I was experiencing throughout that time. So if many don't know what a episiotomy is when they kind of help you deliver this baby before you go to a cesarean section, right? So it was kind of like their last result, and they were like, girl, listen, if you don't push this time, if we can't get it this time, you're gonna have to go to C-section, because the baby at this moment was kind of is like a life-threatening situation. And so the episiotomy work, I was able to deliver the baby, but my body immediately went into a shock. And I started shaking for, I can't even remember because I passed out. When I woke up, I was already in my room, and I had to go through even just the changes in my body, the mood swings, to not knowing what's normal, what's not normal. And I think that sometimes, for me, I'm like, what is going on? There's anxiety that is produced when you're not sure, because you've never experienced it before. You're not sure of what is actually going on. And I know that my healthcare professionals, I'm in healthcare, so I know they're doing their best at trying to explain to me what my body may be going through. But here you are, they're explaining it to you, but you actually have to really truly understand. So there is that gap, I think, in the middle of that, right? Is somebody telling you something and your mind trying to grasp what is going on while it's going on. And I think for me, that is what happened. Someone asked the question.
What is it? Go ahead and answer that question.
So really what a episiotomy is, it is when the birth canal is kind of too tight for the baby to come through. So what they do is they just kind of cut a little bit down there to kind of help you open up a little bit more for the baby to come out. So totally normal. And the purpose of it is so that you don't rip, because it takes a little bit more time to heal. And so the doctors say that it's much better to cut, because they can properly stitch it in a way that will cause less damage than you would if you have to rip. So that's their way of kind of helping you out in a way. So but yeah, that's my first child. And then of course 10 months later, here's my second child. Totally different than the first child. She was early. Oh, I'm like, Lord have mercy. She's early, and now when she came out, she had respiratory issues and had to immediately be rushed to the NICU, to a whole nother hospital. So they had to take her by plane to another hospital while I'm in recovery. And just the franticness that I had, because they took her immediately. I didn't get a chance to bond with her. And that initial separation caused so much. I mean, I can't even tell you the kind of emotions that I was going through. Number one, not knowing if she's okay. Number two, the anxiety of what may have went wrong. And I think that a lot of times doing this postpartum episode, so many things could happen. But it's totally normal. These things happen postpartum. And though we can't predict, because I think that's what it is most of the time, we try to predict what is going to happen post the birth of a child, or through the process of going through that. And that alone is a shocker, but it's normal that if you have a room of women and you have these conversations, you will find that many women have either delivered late past their due date, or before their due date, or their child has had to go to the NICU and stay in the incubator because it was premature and had to go through that process of developing a little bit more before they was exposed. That was mine. I had both extreme cases on both ends, totally different births, totally different outcomes. And after the birth, of both children, now one getting ready to turn 1 year old because he's not quite one yet. And the other one, and the other one is now a newborn. So now I have two babies. And as a mother in her 20s, college student, could you even imagine?
Oh yeah, just the weight of everything.
The weight of it was so. I mean, I've heard. I think in school I got a little counseling because I was just so. It was so heavy. They asked me. They say maybe you should stop school, and I made a decision to keep going. I made a decision to keep going despite some of the symptoms.
Yes. Oh,
and
that's
some
honest.
of the I was experiencing.
Yeah. We'll see, you know what I mean, that, you know, a lot of times in life, we go through some traumatic experiences and we keep going, you know what I mean? We put the blinders on, we don't allow ourselves time to pause and fully absorb, you know what I mean, what just happened. And what happens is PTSD, because then, you know, later on when you're having the opportunity, you see, and we were talking about this a little earlier, it'll surface itself in a different way, in some different forms. Wow, that's major. Two different extreme births, and to be at that age and still pushing through with your personal and professional plans. Amazing. Like, we're gonna get this degree. I'm gonna stay on schedule.
Yeah. You know, at that time, I think I had like a huge breakdown, both spiritually, and I'm going to be completely transparent because I feel like it's going to help somebody. I had gotten so dark that I actually started having suicidal thoughts because I could not see my way clear. Remember, I'm 20 something years old, still in college, and now in Tallahassee by myself, because even though I have a pretty large family, I was actually in a city by myself, right? Going through this moment, trying to figure out, maybe pull out a couple of scriptures that I thought I knew, a couple of worship songs. I mean, I was really pulling from everything that I have been taught throughout the years to just survive. And really, the only thing that got me out of this moment was to just call on Jesus. Like literally, it was no other way. There was no other moment. In fact, I would see just plain darkness. I felt like it was both naturally and spiritually. And this is when my relationship with the Lord deepened. Once I cried out to him after 2 weeks, and this is my symptoms. My symptoms for 2 weeks was crying hysterically. I would be driving crying. I would be washing the dishes crying. I would be in the shower crying. It was uncontrollable. I could not stop it. Everything I could have thought of, no answer. And I didn't even think to pick up the phone to call my family. In fact, I tell my mother this story when I was in my mid-30s, and she was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know you were going through this at this time. You can't see. You can't even think your way clear. So the only thing I could do is call out for the Lord. And that night I had a dream after 2 weeks of this, and the Lord rescued me. And from that moment on, it was like another confidence, another boldness. I knew I can do it. I knew that he was with me. I immediately got myself planted in the churches. And this is in my 20s. I was already saved. I got baptized. I started getting in the word. I started praying and not even thinking about ministry or any of that stuff at this time. This is me. This is survival mode. I'm in survival mode, right?
Come on now.
Yeah, I'm in survival mode. Like, what do I do next? And I just planted myself in the church, started reading, and took it step by step, day by day, because true anxiety is when we project in the future.
Yeah.
Even though we haven't been there yet, we think we know what's going to happen, right? So we're like, I know what's going to happen. No, you don't understand. Even if it's happened before, it doesn't mean that it's going to happen again. And so I had to calm that anxiety down, calm that down and say, okay, you're going to be okay. Take it step by step. And I'm a natural mother. So it was very natural to me to parent the kids. I look down at my two children and I say, everything that I do from this point on, they're going to see it. I made a decision to go forward with my life. And even though it was one foot in front of the other, I just made sure I kept my eyes forward. And now I'm witnessing the fruit today of the decision that I made almost 20 years ago, because my son is 19, almost 20 years ago, of saying yes to the Lord, but also saying yes to my future. Yes, that my children can watch me. They watch me walk across the stage with my bachelor's. They watch me walk across the stage with my master's. They went to my doctoral residency, and of course they had the beautiful side of it, and I had to do all the studying. But they are natural college students. They're not, because I decided to do with them as opposed to without them. So
I love this.
powerful.
I love this. I don't know who all out there is listening, right? But once more, this is a story in itself. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty certain there's a good solid handful of individuals that may can relate, that this is resonating with you. And this is what this broadcast is about. You know what I mean? And so when we think about the calling on your life, Naisha, you know what I mean? And here we are talking about, perinatal, postpartum, the different mood disorders in which we all encounter. You know what I mean? Speak to some of the things and ways in which you're combating this silent crisis in the communities that you land on.
Absolutely. I think number one is this platform alone, having the conversation. I grew up really old school around my great grandmother, and we just didn't talk about this stuff. It was just so silent. We didn't talk about it. And so a lot of the things I was experiencing, like we talk now, we're really close now. But I told them before, I said, why didn't you guys talk about this stuff then? I probably could have been able to navigate it a little bit better. So one of my goals, having such a huge female ministry, but also males too, because I feel like we need to bring awareness to this, all kinds of conversation with mental health and just women's health, and so many of these topics that I think are so important because it's natural. It's something that a lot of us go through, is to start the conversation. So one of the platforms that I have, the previous, is being the founder of Arise Global Ministries, which is not only a Women Arise ministry within it, a women's ministry within itself, but also a ministry for all across the globe. And I have conferences starting these topics. I bring women together all the time. I have women come up and speak at our Women Who Pray Summit and brunches to bring some awareness to certain topics. And you know what? Even though I have this huge background in healthcare, I don't believe that all answers stop with me. So I like to bring professionals on. I like to bring mental health counselors on. I like to bring people who can speak to this topic and bring perspective to what we may be going through. So the Lord has graced me to be able to open the door to speak to leaders, from pastors to other apostles, to other leaders, but government leaders, all kinds of leaders, and bring them in a room to have these conversations. And my goal, and really my commitment to humanity today, is to bridge some of these gaps, is to have some of the conversations. And I believe the Lord allowed me to get in ministry and both healthcare so that I can do it, but have language to it, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. I love what you're saying here, and I've been to a few of Naisha's conferences, events. You have one coming up in July that I'm so looking forward to. I mean, I come with notepad and pen in hand, and you get you some bread and you study and meditate on that thing. What do you think are some of the local, state, or even maybe federal type of policies that should be changed or enhanced to better serve this underrepresented population?
I think some of the transitional services, I'm big on transitional care. In fact, my doctoral dissertation is talking about transitional care. That's a huge focus, because it's not just going to the hospitals and being admitted and being there, but sometimes it's where the ball drops is transitional care. Is that middle gap, leaving the hospital, leaving whatever acute care facility they're in, and getting home. And not just getting the information, because I know that people get like the pamphlets and maybe we're giving them something, but it's understanding the information. It's understanding what I'm reading and really how to apply it to my specific situation. And when something does not line up with what's on that paper, what do I need to do? Right. So
Mhm.
it's those transitional services that I want to really speak to. I think it's really healthcare in general. As I look at the healthcare infrastructure right now, being in healthcare myself, working in long-term care, working in this arena daily, I see that is the gap. The gap is
Yes.
dealing with those complexities with that discharge planning, that discharge situation, that
The
trans.
continuum of care.
Yeah, absolutely. Continuum of care is so important. And we can't assume that everybody has the same understanding or same educational understanding or same ability to be able to understand what we're saying. We have to create room and space for all different target populations, for all educational populations, for every scenario that might hinder someone from getting the help that they need. Yes.
Yes. There's such a big push these days for doulas, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
To, be able to provide that continuum of care and,
Mhm.
following up with moms at home, to just following up with the family, you know what I mean? And seeing how support may be needed in us doing some levels of community resources. And I'll be saying that throughout the program as well. I'm advocating for doulas all the way and in every phase of it. And I say that because when we look at other different countries, you know what I mean, it's a norm, sometimes for about 3-5 different, older women, friends, or whatever have you, just to be around and provide support for that mom post baby and even during the pregnancy as well, because these type of things, what we have seen via research, right, it's not just word of mouth, it helps to
Right.
alleviate the anxiety, the stress, you know what I mean, different forms of pressure that can
Yeah.
build up in the woman, that can build up in the household. And so we need to do a better job of that as a society here locally and throughout this country as well. Naisha,
Let me
go ahead.
let me add this one thing to what you just said really quick. I,
Mhm.
I agree with that wholeheartedly because I remember not telling anybody. And that was my gap. You understand? So it was a
Yeah.
personal gap that I never communicated that I was going through that or needed that. So I can speak to it from experience. Had I had that, my situation may have been a little bit different. Now, grace be to God because he gave me grace in that space. But how many people may not even like everybody's situation is so different and they may not know the Lord in that way. So the question is w- every time somebody goes home, do they have somebody that they can call on? And working in healthcare, I will tell you that a lot of people do not have people that they can count on
I
when
know.
that process. So that alone is a really huge gap.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, I want to come back and piggyback this. We're just getting started.
Wow.
Naisha, as I say, you have several events coming up still
Yes.
this year. I'm super stoked about my ticket that I have to
Yes.
July's events. Tell us a little bit about what you have going on and how folks can get in contact with you and all that fun stuff.
Absolutely. So, Arise Global Conference will be July the 26th and the 27th. It will be hosted right in Winter Park at the Winter Park Event Center. It's going to be phenomenal. I will tell you that it's almost sold out. We have people coming from
Yes,
all around the globe, and I'm
yes,
super excited because we have some very interesting panels, such as something like this, where we're dealing with mental health. We have an all males panel with just men because we want to deal with fatherless and some of the issues, again, gaps. I really believe that my heart, what the Lord has given me, is faith in gaps, closing
oh,
some
yeah.
of the gaps to some of the issues that we see. I believe that God has called us to be problem solvers, to be salt
Yes,
and to be light. And so my heart is any gaps that I see with God's people is to close those gaps. So fatherless, a mother's heart. We're going to be talking about stuff like this. Oh, we might have to get you up there, Tam. We're going to be talking about stuff like this because a lot of people just don't know.
they
And we
don't.
can't assume that they know. So the Lord has given me this opportunity to have a platform where I can invite lots of leaders to have the conversation, and people actually want to hear. And that's why we're almost sold out. So definitely, 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 if you have not signed up for a Rise Global Conference, go ahead and do that. I did make it free. I'm taking all the costs myself because the conversations need to be had. And then we have a Women Who Pray Summit and brunch is going to be the morning of the conference on July the 26th. That's only about $25 for the food. But let me tell you something that happens when women get together and pray. Let me tell you, nothing like fellowship. There's nothing like having like-minded people around you to help you in a time of need. And let me tell you something, we need each other more now than we ever have before. And so I'm excited because of these two events that are going on, and I can't wait to see what God is going to do at these events. Thank you so much.
Yes. Please, let me tell you, when I say powerful, that is an understatement. And I've been, throughout the years, I've been to several events, all phenomenal, all amazing women of God, and the leadership that you have and the atmosphere that you set. And I want to say that because at the last brunch that we had, I just blurted out of nowhere, I'm getting a building. Like, you get in the building? Yup, I'm getting a building. And I started praying on that and meditating on that, fasting on that. I got me some scripture and I stood on that. And everybody knows that I've been just saying, look, we got a building for $1 a month for 12 months. You know what I mean? So when you speak things, you know what I mean? When you're in that right atmosphere and you have the right mind and your heart posture, and that's what God wants for you, trust and believe it'll come forth. And so that goes to a larger piece with regards to community. You know what I mean? You also have to make certain that you're dealing with perinatal, postpartum, the different moods that you may be going through. You know what I mean? Make sure you're around the right people.
Yeah.
Come on now. You cannot be around the negative Nancy's.
That's right.
I mean? The stills. They talk about the chickens and the eagles. You want to make certain that you're around the right atmosphere, or else you are not going to come up out of that thing. And I don't want to get too spiritual on us, you know what I mean? But we do know that depression, anxiety, these certain different levels, you know what I mean, is nothing but a spirit. So let us work with you to make certain that we put you in a healthy mind state.
Absolutely. I love that so much. And to help connect you to resources that are out there. I would tell you the truth. I love all the people that God sends around me because they're let me tell you, I have some very smart, intelligent people who have a heart for people and a heart for the Lord, who wants to connect you to great resources. The goal is just get connected. You never know what God has in store for you. You never know who he wants you to meet. You never know how that one connection could change your entire life. So the goal is to just open yourself up and say, this year, I'm going to get connected. I'm going to make sure that I connect with some people who can help me. I may not have all the answers, but I know somebody who can do it. And so we all start connecting and getting in these rooms, we will find that the answers that we need is connected to God's people. And I'm super excited for what's going to happen.
Yes, this is good stuff. Oh my gosh. I know you have to go. We have to go. Oh my gosh. This is just the start of this conversation. Once more, we are only in our second hour here of this 24-hour broadcast, raising awareness and funds for those with perinatal and postpartum mood disorders. Nyesha, thank you so much for your time. I will talk to you in the airwaves. Thank you. Love you, girl.
Thank you. Oh, that was so good. That was so good, so informative, and you've got some feedback as well. Other people were chiming in. Jacqueline says, yes, it is so crazy how today having a baby is treated and handled like the woman and the family are just making a sandwich or pouring water in a glass. Having a baby is a big deal, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, and spiritually. And I know we will be hearing from Mother Jacqueline later today, but that just wrapped it up. You don't just drop a baby and go back to business as usual.
Yeah.
My sister talks about a TV commercial that she loved even before she gave birth, and the commercials, the slogan was, "A baby changes everything." And you really got to think about that. And then we heard from Melissa Lambert in Florida. She said, so true, so true. She was really connecting with your special guest. And then Dr. Alexandria said, love it. It can be enlightening to hear someone else speak what you've been experiencing, to speak that. And then
that's what that is. Oh,
yes,
yes.
Makes perfectly good sense. Yes. And then author Brenda J. Williams said, good morning, blessings. So good morning to you, author Brenda. I hope you're participating in the author challenge this hour. I'll repeat it again. There's a challenge out during this hour. It ends at the top of the hour, so you got a little less than 30 minutes. But for every author that donates $10 or more, you can go on the website to donate, mmfavorite.org. $10 or more will receive a free book trailer from Angie B Productions. And that means your promotional book trailer will include your book cover, your headshot, your bio, and a portion narrated. Because I don't care what you say, you can make a great video and have a banging beat. But for somebody who's not looking at the screen, they're just dancing to the beat. You've got to have the narration added to it. Yeah. So we will be donating. That's a $75 value. And all we ask is that you give $10. Maternal Matters Favorite. Just a $10 donation would be appreciated. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Once more, this is all going towards our life skills program, and we're actually going to be launching our first real live in-person session next month. We were able to partner with True Holiness Deliverance Tabernacle. In fact, we were just there at their community baby shower last week. And we were able to put some things together, and they have a group of moms that are biting at the chopsticks to try to get some new ways of living and doing things,
Yes.
So I know that we have another speaker up, and so I don't want to take too much time, but we're going to be talking about a lot of things these next couple of hours. So get comfortable, sit tight.
we do. And before we take a quick break, author Brenda says she will donate. So thank you, Brenda. Thank you. If you're the first one, oh my goodness, I appreciate God for you. And if you are watching and you'd like to initiate a challenge with your fraternity, your sorority, or whosoever, just send a text to the number that you see at the bottom of the screen, and we'll get you squared away. Tam, I'm gonna put you backstage for just a little bit so you can take a quick break. We're going to remind everyone of what we're doing. This is 24 Hours of Favor. It is the second time we have gathered together to raise funds and awareness for Maternal Matters Favored. And, we're just very, very excited about the feedback and excited about the opportunity to share. And so we've got a couple of videos that we want to show you right now. And then we'll be back before the top of the hour to tell you how our donations are coming. Okay. Right now, we got music from Brilliance out of Tampa, Florida on 24 Hours of Favor.
Yeah. Let's go and get straight to it. My God is the best. His name is Yahweh. I advise you to check. Yeah. My God is certified, glorified. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. Just giving your life. Yeah. And you know the truth. Yeah. My God is 100 proof. Yeah. He the truth. He 100 proof. Yeah. He the truth. 100 proof. Yeah. He the truth. Just giving your life. Yeah. And you know the truth, yeah. My God is 100 proof. The God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, ain't nobody like him. He created everything in 6 days, and on the 7th he decided to take a rest, and yes, he flooded and cleansed the earth. He dried it up quick, he's real as it get, and that's why we be putting him first. He promised Abraham and blessed him with more seed than all the stars up in the sky. Why you think we stay confessing him? Elohim, and yes, he's Adonai. And his promise he kept, his body's united. Yeah, we gon' step, our God is almighty, we blew it, but he coming through, and just watch when he do it. Let's go and get straight to it. My God is the best. His name is Yahweh. I advise you to check, yeah. My God is certified, glorified, that's what I'ma do, yeah, yeah. Just give him your life, yeah, yeah. And you know the truth, yeah. My God is 100 proof, yeah. He the truth, yeah. He 100 proof, yeah. He the truth, 100 proof, yeah. He the truth. Just give him your life, yeah. And you know the truth, yeah. My God is 100 proof. Certifiable and undeniable, I know it cause he did it all for me. My mom's died and my pops died, but he wouldn't let darkness take hold of me. Just like when he parted the Red Sea, he showed me the way and I took that. Drunk the living water, now my flesh is slaughtered, and I'm telling you I will not look back. He gave his power to David, and the giant had to fall. He's the same God today, man, and he's waiting on your call. Big God, big things, never change, he the same, call his name, get you through it, he can prove it, nothing to it. My God is the truth, only do it, let's go and get straight to it. My God is the best, his name is Yahweh, I advise you to check, yeah. My God is certified, glorified, that's what I'ma do, that's what I'ma do. Just give him your life, yeah, yeah, and you know the truth, yeah. My God is 100 proof, yeah. He the truth, he 100 proof, yeah. He the truth, 100 proof, yeah. He the truth, yeah. Just give me your life, yeah. And you know the truth, yeah. My God is 100 proof, yeah, 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 yeah. You know what we should do right here? Come on, yeah. Come on. We should praise, worship, give him glory, praise, worship, give him glory, praise, worship, give him glory, give him glory, 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 glory. I should praise, worship, give him hallelujah. Praise, worship, give him glory. Praise, worship, give him glory. Give him glory, 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 glory. Let's go and get straight to it. My God is the best.
how much you're going to grieve when you become a mother. I learned who I was really young, but overnight, that girl was gone. And it wasn't just me. My husband became a new person too, and our relationship became a new relationship. I had to say goodbye to those parts of me and us, and rediscover myself, my partner, and our marriage, all while taking care of a newborn. And then came the mom guilt. I wanted to be with her all the time, but I also run a business. Honestly, my whole postpartum journey was such a blur. There was no structure, but at a certain point, I just had to surrender, give into the chaos. My advice to any new mom, you will never be who you once were, in all the best ways and in all the most painful.
Happy place, and I've got Georgia on my mind. Save the date. It's time to shine at the 8th annual Bold, Beautiful, and Bald Beauty Bazaar and Weekend Retreat. Join us September 19th through the 22nd, 2024 in historic St. Mary's, Georgia. A fundraiser for the National Alopecia Areata Foundation, spreading awareness and acceptance. Follow us on Facebook, Bold, Beautiful, and Bald Beauty Bazaar. Our host hotel this year is the Shore Stay Plus by Best Western, St. Mary's, Cumberland. Weekend retreat activities include the Friday Fun Photo Shoot, picnic lunch back at the hotel, and the Royal Blue Beauty Bazaar Fashion Show takes place on Saturday. For more information, call 407-914-6519. That's 407-914-6519. I'm in my happy place. Come join me.